Okay, so this is example 2, and it's we're going to examine the slopes to compare lines. So what they tell us is that we have one line called ST, and it passes through the point S and T at -2 and 7, and at T 2 and -5. And we also have the line UV, which passes through the point U at -2 and 3, and V at 7 and 6. And they say, are these two lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? And to justify your answer. So that's what they'd like us to do in A. And B asks us to sketch the lines. I've already sketched these lines to save time. So let's calculate the slope of ST. So we're going to use y2 minus y1 divided by x2 over x1. So we're going to use this formula again. So my change in y, I've got -5 subtract 7 divided by, my change in x is going to be 2 subtract -2. Okay? So -5, I'm going to run out of room here, so I'm just going to continue on over here. If you have room, fill it in down in this spot here. But -5 subtract 7 is -12. And 2 subtract -2 is 4. Okay? So the slope of ST will reduce to a slope of -3 over 1. Okay? Both of these numbers here are divisible by 4. The slope of UV, so I would find the change in y by taking 6 and subtracting 3, those are the y coordinates, and taking 7 and subtracting -2 to get the change in x. Okay? So 6 subtract 3 is 3, and 7 subtract -2 is the same as 7 plus 2, so that's 9. So if I reduce that, both of those numbers are divisible by 3. I'll get 1/3. So what can we say about the lines ST and UV? Well, if we look at their slopes, we'll see that one slope is negative and the other slope is positive. So that's good, because we know when we're looking for perpendicular lines, we need one slope to be negative and the other to be positive. And they have to be reciprocals. And 3 over 1 is the reciprocal of 1/3. So what we can say about ST and UV, we can say line ST, and this is the symbol we use to describe a line. This symbol here is shorthand for perpendicular. So that is just a shorthand way of writing perpendicular. And it's a long word to write out, so I think you'll probably enjoy using the shorthand. So we can say that ST is perpendicular to line UV. Okay, just like that. The second part of this question asks us to sketch the lines to verify our answer. So just to save a little bit of time, I've gone ahead and sketched these lines. Maybe we'll just label the points. So this point here, up here, is S. It's at -2 and 7. Okay, and then that would make this line down here T. That point down there T. And T is at 2 and -5. So that's 2 and -5. And U is at -2 and 3. So this point over here would be U. This one V at 7 and 6. So you can see within a little bit of distortion of the graph that these two lines look fairly close to being perpendicular. If they don't look quite perpendicular to me, it's probably because the grid that I have used, although I did my best to make it square, isn't exactly square. Okay. So at let's see what's coming up next. Identifying a line perpendicular to a given line. So this example, that what they're going to show us how to do is how to write or draw a line that's perpendicular to another line. So Determine the slope of the line that is perpendicular to the line through GH. So we've got a line GH, and we've got to find the line that's perpendicular, the slope of a line that's perpendicular to it. Okay. So that's first of all, so the strategy we're going to use is we're going to first of all calculate the slope of GH, and then to get the slope of the line perpendicular to it, we're just going to take its negative reciprocal. So we're going to use this formula again. Change in y over the change in x. Okay? So the slope of GH will take, the change in y is going to be negative 2 subtract 3. Subtract 3 over 1 subtract negative 2. Okay? So negative 2 subtract 3 is negative 5, and 1 subtract negative 2 is the same thing as 1 plus 2. So, and 1 plus 2 is 3. Okay, so we've got 5/3. And that is so the slope of GH is negative 5/3. Okay. So if we want to know the slope of a line that is perpendicular to GH, so I'm going to use that symbol for perpendicular again. Perpendicular to GH is, and we're going to take the negative reciprocal. So the negative of a negative number is positive, and the reciprocal of 5/3 is 3/5. So that is going to be the slope of a line that is perpendicular to GH. Okay, and I think I'll just indicate one more time what that symbol means. All right. So the second part of this question asks us to determine the coordinates of a point J so that the line GJ is perpendicular to the line GH. Okay. So they want us to find a point somewhere, and you know, if you think about it, it's probably going to be somewhere over here, right? We're going to find a point somewhere over there so that these two lines are perpendicular. And how do we go about doing that? So the first thing is to draw the line GH, which I've already done. Okay, and you may want to stop the video and just draw that onto your paper. It has coordinates of G is at negative 2 and 3, and H is at 1 and negative 2. So if you just want to stop for a minute and fill in that line, okay? All right, so draw the line GH. The slope of the line GJ, well, we know this line is perpendicular, so we know that its slope, we figured that out in part A, is going to be 3/5. So what does this mean? It means that for every rise of 3 units, we're going to have a run of 5 units. Okay? So we want to write, we want to draw a line GJ, which means that the point G down here is one point on the line that we want to make perpendicular. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from that point G, I'm going to take this slope, I'm going to count up 3 units for my rise, so 1, 2, 3, draw a line. Okay? And then I'm going to go for a run of 5 units, so 2, 5. Okay, so this is my rise of 3 and my run of 5. And I'm going to put a point down there, right here. Okay? Then I can draw a line between it, and you can see that that does look like a perpendicular line, and the coordinates of this point J Okay, those coordinates are going to be 3 and 6. Okay, so I believe that's what the question asked you to do. To determine the coordinates of J so that the line GJ is perpendicular to GH. So the coordinates we'll fill in here are 3, x is 3, y is 6. We've drawn the line, so we can see that, and this angle right here is a 90-degree angle. We can mark that with a square to indicate that that's 90 degrees. Right. Let's go on to the next example.